God bless you, dear ones. Welcome to the Word with Chester. Today we'll begin study in Joshua chapter 4. I do appreciate all of you that are logging on to watch this ministry. I want you to know that God is yet blessing. We had to change gears. I started a new Facebook, but thankfully, thank God for our YouTube audience and our Twitter audience. We thank God for all of you that have watched, but we had to set up a new Facebook page. Somebody hacked into my other Facebook page and they were doing some things that they shouldn't have done. And so instead of me having to deal with that scrutiny or whatever they were trying to prove or do over there, I just started a new Facebook. But I trust that some will find us that were following us. Then we had a great following in that channel. I don't worry about things like that. God just told me to teach the word, and in teaching the word, the ones that are supposed to listen will listen. And I appreciate you for logging on. I also want you to know that we are archived. We have more than 900 sessions that we have taught through the Bible on the internet. We archive at YouTube, on our Facebook page, the other Facebook page that I had. We were archived all the way back to the beginning there, but on this page we can't archive back that far. But yet you can go to YouTube, my channel there. You can go to the Word with Chester on YouTube, and we have many sessions there. And all the way back to the beginning when we started in 2011, they are archived on YouTube on my channel, Clinging to Him. Clinging, CLINGING, the number two, HIM, and that will bring up our archives in on our YouTube channel there. So I want you to know all of them are there. You can go all the way back to the beginning if you have time and listen to each lesson. But I guarantee you, if you stay with us, you will have read completely through this Bible, verse by verse and chapter by chapter. If you have that kind of time, you can go back to the beginning and listen and catch up. It is my desire to have this study go on and on after my death. After we get through the Bible, we will start it again and listen all the way through the Bible again. It takes 5 years or more each time we go through the Bible, but yet I hope that somebody's listening a long time after I'm dead. I don't fear death, and I don't fear whatever situations happen. Why? Because I know God is in control of my life here and over there. So I'm grateful to God that He has put this platform for me to share the gospel or share the Bible with as many people as will listen. And I appreciate you so very much. Well, let's go to the word today. We'll begin in verse 1 of chapter 4 in the book of Joshua. Now, remember what had happened in our last lesson, and this is actually a continuation of what was happening or transpiring in our last lesson, where God had stopped the waters of the Jordan in a miraculous way. Get the picture. If we try to logic out everything, and they say, well, they closed the valve. They didn't have the valves like we have now that they could just close off the whole river or dam it up with the equipment that we have today. So you have to understand the miraculous work of God, and we're in the middle of that story where the children of Israel were able to cross over the Jordan on dry land, and that was a miracle from God all by itself. Well, shall we begin our reading today in verse 1 of chapter 4. I trust that you will read along with us. And it came to pass when all the people were completely passed over the Jordan that the Lord spoke unto Joshua, saying, Take you 12 men out of the people, out of every tribe a man. Get one man out of every tribe. I hope you understand it what we're reading in verse 3. And command ye them, saying, take here out of the midst of the Jordan, out of the place where the priests feet stood firm, 12 stones, and ye shall carry them over with you, and leave them in the lodging place where ye shall lodge this night. I want you to get the picture what Joshua was saying to these 12 men. Get 12 stones where the priest set firm, where their feet set firm, and get 12 stones from there, and you carry them on the other side of the Jordan, and you place them where we're lodging from there. And there was a reason for this. Get the picture. When God gives a commandment, there's a reason for it. But your and my job is to look in to see what the reason is, and glean from that. Now, I guess again I tell you we're reading history, but it's an important thing for you to understand what God is doing and see the miracle working power of God in history, and show others what we glean from reading this history. Well, when we talk about history, it is his story. It is the story about God. We have key figures such as Moses and Joshua that we write about, but the story is about God. And you have to get that picture, whatever we're reading. It's not about the individual doing the work. It's about God. And even what we do, teaching the Bible, if you're a preacher, a teacher, or whatever you do, is not about you. It's about the God that you teach about. And so we read about the lives of these great men, and indeed they were great men. And I'm not taking anything from them, but I want you to I want you to understand that the story is about God. It is His story, and when you get that picture, it's about God and not the individual. Then you will really get to know the God of the Bible. Well, let's read on here. In verse 4, and Joshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel out of every tribe a man, and Joshua said unto them, pass over before the ark of the Lord your God in the midst of the Jordan, and take ye up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. Get that picture. I want you to, in verse 5, pass over before the ark of the covenant. Now, when we're crossing over, you pass over them. In other words, go in front of them, as we read in verse 6, and this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in the time to come, saying, what mean ye by these stones? In other words, God is setting up something that can be remembered. Get the picture. So many times when God does great and miraculous things for us and through us, as soon as it passed, we might know about it and we might remember about it. But even nowadays, when you talk about the things you done, people will accuse or things done through you by God. They will accuse you of lifting yourself up or trying to be grandiose yourself. But the testimony is about God, even in the things that God does through you. you. Well, get that picture. So Joshua is letting them know, I'll read 6 again, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what meaneth by these stones? Well, he had the stones sent over for a reason. The stones, when they got on the other side, the place where they were going to lodge, they put the stones there, and those stones were there for a memorial of what God had just done, the miraculous working power of God, so that years down the line, years to come, children would see these stones, or people would see these stones and ask, what meaneth this? Why are these stones put here like this? They will ask that question, and then you can tell them the story about the miraculous working power of God. When you get that picture, the miraculous working power of God, you will know who he is and how good he is. Now, verse 7, then ye shall answer them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and it passed over the Jordan. The waters of the Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. Not now, but forever. I need to read 7 one more time. Then ye shall answer that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. And these stones shall be, please excuse me, these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel, a memorial. Well, this is going to serve to help you remember what God has done. Now let's read in verse 8. And the children of Israel did so, and as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of the Jordan, as the Lord spoke unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. And carrying them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. Well, can you get you now? Now we have Joshua is writing this book. He's penning this. So get the difference in the writing style of Moses and the writing style of Joshua. But Joshua was just making it plain, and he repeated himself there. And the children of Israel did so, and Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of the Jordan, as the Lord spoke unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. Can you get that picture? Well, God was setting up a memorial so that this could be talked about forever, not just a short time, but forever. It's so important for us to remember the miraculous working things of God. Why? Because he is real, and he does work miracles. Now let's read verse 9. And Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests who bore the ark of the covenant stood, and they were there unto this day. In other words, they were there unto this day. They're yet there. They are yet there. I haven't been over there to see these stones, but I would imagine the children of Israel would not have moved them. They are yet there for a memorial of what God had did for the children of Israel, and letting them walk across the Jordan River on dry land. Now let's read in verse 10. For the priests who bore the ark stood in the midst of the Jordan until everything was finished, that the Lord commanded Joshua to speak unto the people according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. And the people hastened and passed over. Can you get the picture? The priest stood there, and when they stood there, the waters were abated. They stood there with the ark of the covenant. Now let's read in verse 11. And it came to pass when all the people were completely passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest and in the presence of the people. I better read that one more time. And it came to pass when all the people were completely passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people. Can you get the picture? The people passed over. The priest went and set their feet down and set it down firmly, and the waters abated, and the people could go around them and go across. So the people went across first. And in verse 11, it came to pass when all the people were completely passed over, that the ark of the Lord passed over, and the priest in the presence of the people. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and half the tribe of Manasseh passed over armed before the children of Israel as Moses spoke unto them. In other words, this great army, the children of Reuben, you have to understand their inheritance. They chose to take on the other side of the river. And these, I'll read their names again. Reuben, the children of Gad, and half of the tribe of Manasseh passed over armed before the children of Israel as Moses spoken to them. They were armed and ready to fight. Now let's read in verse 13. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. About 40,000 men, 40,000 army, if you please. This was a lot of men prepared to go fight. About 40,000 prepared for war passed over before the Lord unto battle to the plains of Jericho. Now let's read verse 14. On that day, the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the days of his life. The Lord magnified Joshua. Get that picture. God magnified him. Why? So that they would listen to him. God magnified him so that they would get instruction from him, and they needed his wisdom. Can you get the picture? If someone needs you, they have to respect you to receive what you have to give them. And so God magnified Joshua in the sight of the people, and they revered him or they feared him just like they did Moses. Shall I read 14 again? On that day, the Lord magnified Joshua in the sight of Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moses all the days of his life, just like they did Moses. They feared him. Now they're fearing Joshua, not afraid of him per se, but they fear because they know God is with him, and so they revere that, and they will listen to him. Now let's read in verse 15. And the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, I have been talking about that in many sections of the scripture that we read. When you read in the Bible, listen to when the Lord spoke, when God spoke. It's a difference from when a man speaks, but you have to understand you got to listen, and when you get to know the Bible, listen for when God spoke, and then you can understand what God is doing around that situation. situation. And the Lord spoke unto Joshua, saying, command the priests to bear the ark of the testimony, that they come up out of the Jordan. Now command the priests, there, holding the water back with the ark of the covenant. Command them to come up out of the Jordan. And Joshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, come ye up out of the Jordan. And it came to pass, when the priests who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord will come up out of the midst of the Jordan, the soles of the priests' feet were lifted up into the dry land, that the waters of the Jordan returned into their places and flowed over its bank as they did before. Can you get that picture? When the priests got on the other side and they got all the way over to the solid ground, if you please, the dry land over there. When they got on that side, then the waters went back to place. Can you see the miraculous working of God? Can you see how God dealt with this situation and with the children of Israel? The waters returned after they got on the other side of the Jordan. Now that's worth remembering. That's worth having a memorial for. I hope you're hearing me today. Now verse 19 reads, and the Lord came up out of the Jordan, and the people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal in the east borders of Jericho. Can you get that picture? The people came up out of the Jordan, giving us a day, the 10th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal on the east borders of Jericho. Now shall we read in verse 20, and those 12 stones which they took out of the Jordan did Joshua set up in Gilgal. Those 12 stones, the memorial that was being built out of these 12 stones, Joshua set them up in Gilgal. Now verse 21, and he spoke unto the children of Israel, saying, then your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what mean these stones? What do these stones mean? Verse 22, then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. Well, get the picture. This memorial, when you ask about it, give them the answer that God brought us through the Jordan River on dry land. He stopped the flow of the Jordan River so that we could cross on dry land. Can you get that picture? So this is a memorial for that. I know we mentioned it. It seemed like Joshua was writing something repetitive here, but what he was doing, he was getting it from the Lord in the first parts of the chapter, and then now is when it actually come to pass. Get the picture. The Lord told him what to do, and then here he wrote it again after it happened, that this is what the Lord has done. Get that picture. I want you to understand that. Verse 21 again, and he spoke unto the children of Israel, saying, when your children shall ask their fathers in time to come, saying, what mean these stones? Then you have something to tell them. In verse 22, then ye shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Jordan on dry land. Please excuse me. Tell your children about it, that the children of Israel came over the Jordan on dry land. Now let's read in verse 23. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan from before you until ye were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up from before us until we were gone over. Now, God is doing something here and showing something through Joshua here. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan from before you until ye were passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up from before us until we were gone over. In other words, God did it again. Get the picture. It wasn't an accident thing then. That wasn't a fluke thing then, because God has did this before. We crossed over the Jordan on dry land, and I've told you many times that that all of the children of Israel that had left Egypt, that was there in Egypt and left Egypt on this journey to the promised land, all of them had died now except for Joshua and Caleb. And so Joshua is reminding them that this has happened before. God did the same thing when we come up to the Red Sea. And you got to get the picture. Well, God knew how to lift Moses up and so the people would revere him by doing such miraculous things. And here he's doing the same thing with Joshua and letting the people fear him and letting the people see that God was with Joshua. I want you to understand what we're reading here. Now, verse 24 reads that all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty, and that ye may fear, that you might fear the Lord your God forever. Now that's a verse right there, and I'm gonna read it one more time. That all the people of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is that it is mighty. That all the people, I know the things were happening to the children of Israel. They were the one that's walking through on the dry land. But I want you to know, when other people hear about it, it lets them know that the God they serve is real. It lets them know that the God that the true and the living God is with them. So it wasn't just for them, the children of Israel, but the whole world saw, the whole region around there. They heard about it. Get the picture. The people in Jericho, you had to understand they had people out there looking, because when they crossed over to the Jordan, they were right there close to Jericho. So you have to understand other people were aware of this, what was going on. Let me read 24, that all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty. All the people of the earth, and that includes you and me, all of us, we need to get a picture here how mighty the Lord is. Now, I know God used Joshua, and he stamped in the minds of the people that God was with him. But you have to understand, this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. This is the Lord's doing. Shall I read it again? That all the people of the earth might know the hand of the Lord, that it is mighty, and that ye may fear the Lord your God forever. That you may fear the Lord your God, not just for a short time, not just after we get on the other side of Jordan, but that you will fear the Lord forever. It's not a short time thing. It's for real, and it's forever. God is for real, and he's forever. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Well, my dears, I want you to know that I love you, and I appreciate you for being here. I hope that you're getting something out of our studies. If you contact me through the whatever entity you're listening to me, let me know. Give me that thumbs up, or share our video. I'm sure God will bless you for it. But yet, you're also letting me know that you're getting something out of the Word of God. Again, my dears, I want you to know that I love you. I love you with the love of the Lord, and that there is no mistake in that. I love all of God's people. I love all the people that I interact with, not only on the World Wide Web, but in life. I love you with the love of the Lord, and you can't stop that. Why? Because God put that love down in me. God bless you, my dears.